Gold, a soft yellow, corrosion-resistant rare element. The standard for monetary systems.
As our ideas have evolved in both the understanding of the geology of the Klondike and of this part of the Yukon generally, and the types of gold present, we have a much improved opportunity to actually figure out where this gold has actually been coming from.
Lode, a below-ground deposit of valuable ore occurring within definite boundaries.
It doesn't fit into a typical model. And if it doesn't fit a model, some people go, well, geez, you know, just because there's a bunch of gold there.
Mother lode, the primary below-ground source. The Lone Star claims, the nexus of the Klondike gold rush. 20 million ounces of surface gold, known as placer gold, has been mined from this area since 1896. Yet, the below-ground source of all this gold has remained unknown. Throughout the past 20 years, the Lone Star claims have been the subject of exploration by Canadian mine finder Richard Hughes. Now, in a new joint venture, the final steps in the search has begun.
Standing here on El Dorado Dome, which is a high point in the northern part of the Klondike District, looking to the north across the northwestern part of the Klondike District, and we're looking specifically down one of the main placer gold drainages. In between is what we call Lone Star Ridge.
This was the first area where lode gold, the underground source of the placer gold, was discovered in the Klondike.
The old prospectors worked their way up from the discovery claim up to the junction with El Dorado. They came up upper Bonanza Creek, up Victoria Gulch, which is the main gulch between here and the Lone Star mine itself, and they found that the gold actually seemed to be coming out of the slope above. And they prospected their way up, discovered the veins that subsequently became the Lone Star mine.
The Lone Star mine operated for 3 years until the outbreak of World War I. These rugged Yukon miners fought on the front lines, but never returned home.
We know that a substantial amount of gold, of lode gold, is still present. We know that because we see gold-bearing quartz vein systems developed in many different parts of the Klondike. This is a style of gold mineralization that typically contains gold over a very, very substantial vertical distance, certainly thousands of meters. We've identified basically 4 major areas that appear to have been the sources of almost all, I would say probably at least 90% of the placer gold that was recovered here. And one of the areas that appears to have generated much of the gold, certainly for El Dorado Creek and for much of Bonanza Creek, appears to have been this ridge right in front of us, which is being explored quite intensively right now by Klondike Star.
As a geologist, you're just basically playing detective, trying to unravel the whole story. You have an idea of why you want to be in an area in the first place. The reason we're here in the Klondike is it's the biggest unexplained gold anomaly in the world.
A team of experts from around the world has been assembled to track the source of the gold that came from these famous creeks. Klondike Star owns the underground mineral rights to the Lone Star claims, over 1,200 claims in total, the largest land position held in the Klondike mining district.
It's the first really serious effort to look at this region from an exploration point of view. To go back and look at the rocks instead of just looking for gold, per se.
The current work programs consist of regional geological assessments, soil geochemistry, trenching, bulk sampling, and diamond drilling.
We're starting to make breakthroughs with the core drilling.
11,000 meters of HQ-size core drilling is underway on the Lone Star Zone.
From what I've seen so far, there's a thick, continuous zone of mineralized rock, and the continuity is much better than I had originally been led to believe, because a lot of previous workers were applying economic cutoffs before they knew the geological cutoff. One of the things we have decided to do is just go where the gold is, and maybe you have to work a little harder, maybe it costs a little bit more, but if that's where the gold is, that's where you got to go. We think that there's a good chance that there is more or less continuous mineralization all the way from Lone Star to Pioneer. And additionally, some of the best soil anomalies in the Klondike are in that area. And it's virtually unexplored. You need to drill it on a systematic basis. And that's where you're going to find something, where the mineralization is, where the best soil geochem anomalies are. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to.
When you assay for gold in any environment, you get very high values, you get very low values, and that is just by the nature of the nuggety effect of gold in veins.
Bulk sampling has been identified as the most accurate method of measuring the gold content of mineralized zones with a nugget effect style of gold enrichment.
The whole idea of what we're doing here is to take large samples of ore that we have discerned has gold in it. We're hoping in this way to establish what the ore grade, the true ore grade is, using mining methods, using equipment to take the samples big enough of a bulk size that it simulates what you might actually get from mining.
You know, you're duplicating Mother Nature and speeding up time. We have a creek, we have bedrock, we have riffles, and the action is our earthquake. This is the top tray of the testing table. Some of the material we're processing today. It'll go to the finishing table, be extracted and weighed and evaluated for against the values of the tonnage we're crushing.
I'm standing here on the banks of the Yukon River. This is the area where for over 100 years people have been finding gold. Klondike Star Mineral Corporation was founded for the purpose of determining what is the source of that gold. We are working with competent, capable, experienced people according to a strategy and according to a plan with the purpose of establishing a world-class mining operation.
The exploration is really only beginning on it right now in a modern, systematic, cohesive fashion, and I think that it's going to take time, it's going to take money, but I think the rewards could be staggering.
When there's a find made here, I want to be associated with it. That's, you know, a personal goal of mine.
Where did this really enormous amount of placer gold come from? This is about as intriguing a question or as intriguing a riddle as I can imagine. Some of the approaches that are being taken now, I think, are the kind of approaches that have the potential to really answer some of the very, very key questions that have existed for a long time and have really never been addressed fully. So for someone like myself who's been involved for many, many years up here, the idea of being actually close to having an answer is pretty exciting.
Klondike Star Mineral Corporation. The final steps in the search for the mother lode.